Hi everybody, and welcome to today's InsideSales.com webinar, the $5 billion Sales Playbook, featuring David Rudnitsky, SVP of Enterprise Sales at InsideSales.com. While we're waiting for everybody to get logged in, we'd like to share a quick video clip with you, and then after that we'll get into introductions.
Behind every pass, every first down, and every 2-minute drill, and behind every game-winning touchdown is a play. Without a playbook, you have no direction, no plan, and no chance of success. But with the right play, you're in position to win. And it's the same in sales. Without the right plays and the right sequence, your sales teams will drop the ball. But with the right playbook built on the right insights, your sales teams are primed for success. That's exactly what Playbooks from InsideSales.com provides. It's a revolutionary sales platform that gives sales reps the plays they need to close deals. Who to call, when to call them, how to contact them, and how to manage multiple prospects moving through the sales funnel at once. Playbooks is based on decades of sales knowledge and the largest and most varied database of sales interactions in the world. 100 billion interactions and growing. So sales reps are always fed plays based on proven best practices and accurate data, which means they get the best plays at the best times. With all that power at their fingertips, even the rookies will sell like veterans. And the entire team will perform like all-stars. Playbooks will fuel more contacts, more conversations, and more closed deals. Because with Playbooks, you're always in a position to win.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed that video. That highlights our new product called Playbooks. If you want more information about that, in the right-hand side of your console under the free downloads, there is a link there for Playbooks. There's also a link to the video in case you want to share that video with somebody else. Also, a quick plug for our Sales Acceleration podcast. If you like today's content and other content about sales acceleration, then you'll want to join in this podcast. There is the address right there, InsideSales.com/resources/podcast. Go ahead and check that out. Okay, today's webinar is a quick one. It's just 15 minutes. We hope you guys like this format. Feel free to give us some feedback in the survey on the right-hand side, or at the end it will pop up as well. You can join the conversation just using the hashtag InsideSalesWebinar, and in about an hour and a half, this webinar will be available on demand. I'd now like to introduce our featured speaker, David Rudnitsky, who is the SVP of Enterprise Sales at InsideSales.com. David spent 12 years at Salesforce, where he helped establish the Enterprise Sales Group and scaled the business from $25 million to $5 billion in revenue. Part of that comes from his playbook, which was highlighted in Mark Benioff's best-selling book, Behind the Cloud, and which is the content that he'll be sharing with you today. Prior to Salesforce, David spent some time at Ariba, Netscape, Oracle, and ADP. I now turn the time over to David Rudnitsky.
Thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take the next 10 minutes and share with you my playbook. When you think about a playbook, there's a couple things that I believe have to be core to the playbook. It's got to be repeatable. It's got to be scalable. You've got to be able to adapt, because a playbook's only as good as the ability to change as the business changes. And you've got to have some structure to it. So when I think about the playbook, there's a couple of tenets that I really believe in, and there's 10 of them that I think really make a playbook and the structure of it most effective. One, in a selling environment, you've got to get off to a fast start, whether that's the beginning of a fiscal year, the beginning of a quarter, or the beginning of the month. You have to have some purpose to it, and you've got to have some speed to it. The next one is you have to have synergy. You've got to have everybody contributing to success in the organization. There might be a quote out there, but the reality is sales folks are successful when they surround themselves with other people in the organization, and you've got to leverage the synergy of your organization in its entirety. I believe a frontline manager owns a franchise. So regardless of what industry you're in, when you give somebody the ability to manage a territory, you're giving them a franchise. And as a franchise owner, it's kind of like they're Dunkin' Donuts. They know what serves best in their neighborhoods. They know the flavored coffees. They know the flavored donuts. And you've got to empower them because the markets are very different across the different geographies. You've got to have balance across your team. So when you think about structuring an organization and you see performance, have a balanced performance. Every great team has a lot of scorers, not just one or two. A superstar on every team can only carry you so far. Try to shoot for some balanced scoring. And when you think about a playbook and you think about structuring an organization, go at it with the beginner's mind. Start with fresh ideas. Most of us come into an organization and we try to change things or really try to accelerate our growth. Any idea is a good idea. So go at it with the beginner's mind. I think it's really important for anyone in your sales organization to be fearless, to have this go for it mentality. Sales is hard and it's challenging, and there are pressures that you put upon yourself. There's pressures that the organization puts upon you. But when you're fearless and you have this go for it mentality, you can't lose. When you start to think about your organization, you're always going to have the ability to hire as you grow. Never, ever, ever waste an open headcount. Always hire up to your capacity. Always maximize your distribution. Don't ever sit back, and there's sometimes all of us are guilty of sitting back and seeing some open headcount and saying, well, the organization's doing well, the numbers are there, everyone's doing well. We need to challenge ourselves and keep your foot on the pedal when it comes to hiring. Don't let an open headcount go to waste. It is a team sport. Regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of what product, what service you're selling, sales is a team sport. And I'm very clear, it's not a spectator sport. People get involved, you roll up your sleeves, and it's all about hard work. I really don't believe in working smarter, but I really do believe in working harder. And when you surround yourself with the right team and you have that go for it mentality, that's when you win. Think about every opportunity you chase as having white space. You might be assigned a territory with a lot of customers in it. Well, the reality is, have they bought every product from you? Have they bought every service for you? The great salespeople figure out how to innovate with their customers. The great salespeople figure out where there's white space and take advantage of it. And I think one of the basic tenets of the playbook that has served me well over the years, no surprises. This is a job that we do as professional salespeople. It's not a hobby, so no surprises. And one thing I've always encouraged the folks that work for me to do is tell me what I need to hear. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. And as much as we hate surprises, whether they're good or they're bad, you need to share them in real time. Because in the sales world, it's dynamic. And if you have a playbook and you have some structure to it, you've got to allow it to be dynamic. You've got to allow it to shape it and mold it to the situation. And so, no surprises. I want to take a couple minutes, and in addition to the basic tenets of the playbook, just some execution steps that have always served me well, in addition to just having the basic structure of the playbook. One is think big. To me, you've got to go into a situation and have an attitude. Because that attitude, that winning attitude, a customer picks up on it right away. A prospect picks up on it right away. And the idea is that you not only have an attitude and you think big, but you go big, you go high. It kind of gives you the license, if you have the right frame of mind and the right level of confidence, to call as high as possible in an organization and to have the confidence to have that executive conversation, to make that executive introduction. I talked earlier about it's a team sport. The reality is we don't win or lose alone. I'm less impressed with a rep who brings in a multi-million-dollar deal and then takes time to brag that he or she has done it on their own versus someone who brings in that same multi-million-dollar deal and uses all the virtual members of the team, all the people that support them. Because the reality is when you have other people supporting you, you have other smart eyes and ears on a deal, you have people that help you mitigate your risk, and you have people that help you potentially upsell that initial one. In today's world, never cold call. Never. There are so many opportunities to connect the dots that you should never cold call. Think about the social graph or the social map of every customer or prospect that you call on. You should know something about that person before you call on them. And shame on the rep that picks up the phone and says, I hate to cold call. And they really are, in 2016, cold calling. That's unacceptable. Another execution play that really works well is focus on the why nots of a deal. Tell me why you're not getting a deal. Let's talk about the red flags. Let's talk about the risks. If all a rep focuses on are the whys, I can tell you the whys. We have great market penetration. We're a leader in our industry. Our products are great. Our management team is great. The reality is the great reps always focus on the why nots. Why won't they get a deal? Why won't they win that evaluation? Why won't that customer accept that proposal? Those are the things you need to focus on. It's the why nots, it's the whys. The why nots are the ones that make the real big winners. When you work a deal to completion, you got to take it off the table immediately. So think about all the hard work you spend on an opportunity. You drive it through the funnel, you bring it to closure, and then you sit there and it waits, and you're negotiating, and you over-negotiate. One of my basic premises of a deal is when it's ready, take it off the table. It's like a piece of fruit. If it stays there too long on the vine, it's going to spoil. Take the deal off the table. It's all about velocity. I'd much rather you take a deal when it's ready and not over-negotiate it and give you the ability to maybe close one or two other deals in that same time frame. So take the deal off the table. Something else when you think about how do you execute on the playbook, and it's something I've always pushed my reps to do, get your face in the place. You need to walk the halls of your customers and your prospects. You need to walk those halls, and you need to get to know them. You need to build trust with them. You need to understand things that are happening way beyond the current evaluation or the current products or services they've bought from you. You need to earn the right to ask them for the business. The best way to do that is to walk the halls, for them to get to know you. To me, it's always a badge of honor for a rep if he or she actually gets badged from a customer. The idea that they trust you as that much to allow you to be badged and walk the halls the same as their employees does says a lot about your credibility. It also says a lot about your ability to become a trusted advisor to them. When you start to work with your customers and you make them successful, don't ever forget the fact that there's a story there. And I'm a big believer in collecting fun facts on my customers. And fun facts range from who do we compete with, why do we win the deal, and most importantly, what are they doing with our solution? What is it that I can stand up and be really proud that they have bought my product or my service, why we won, who we beat, and what kind of productivity gains they're getting out of our solution. And you need to be a master of the fun facts, because that builds instant credibility. So when you're walking the halls of that customer and you're having a conversation and you're making these references to other customers who have done similar things and have really done incredibly well with using your product or your service, that builds instant credibility. I talked a couple of minutes ago about in 2016 you should never cold call, right? In today's social world, it's unacceptable. But in today's social world, it's more important than ever to control your brand. So when you think about executing on your own playbook, you think about your own targets, you think about your own position in the company, think about your brand. It's really important you maintain your brand. And this is your personal brand, not just your company's brand. It's your integrity. It's your ability to be that trusted advisor. But you can control that brand. And you can control it through social channels. You can control it through face-to-face interaction. You can control it over the phone. But every time you interact with somebody and you move one step further to closing a deal or you continue to service them, your brand's behind that, your own personal brand. One thing that I've always believed in, never compromise. If you truly believe this is a profession for you and you want to play at the highest level, you want to play at the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball level, never compromise. It's too important. It's not a hobby, it's a job. And so why compromise? So when you think about building your own playbook, think about how you stretch yourself, think about how you challenge yourself, and think about putting some structure to it, but never compromise. And you got to be relevant. There are a lot of salespeople out there that can go tell a story and they're pitching a product. Well, is pitching a product really relevant? But I think if you have enough collections of fun facts and you do a lot of the connecting the dots that I referred to, you should know your customer better than they know themselves. And when you know your customer better than they know themselves, in the conversations you have with them, you become relevant. Immediately you become relevant with them. And in everything that you do, and there's lots of other plays in the playbook, and hopefully everyone has an opportunity to create their own playbook. But I would say one of the things is, in today's world, time kills deals. So my last piece of advice when you're thinking about a playbook, it's all about intensity, it's all about speed, it's all about velocity. And that's velocity to move something through the funnel, that's velocity to close it, that's velocity to make them successful, that's velocity to start to show proven results so that they become referenceable for you. So I'd say take the time, think about your own personal playbook. And I'll go back to what I said when I kicked the session off. Put some structure to it. It's got to be repeatable. You got to be able to scale it. As your business grows and your success hopefully grows, you've got to be able to scale it. And probably most importantly, the world changes every day. Every industry changes, products change, technology changes. Make sure it's adaptable. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, David, for your presentation. What an amazing presentation. I hope that you guys are able to take his playbook and to grow your business just like he did. We have a free ebook for you, The Sales Leader's Guide to Forecasting with Confidence. You can download that in the right-hand side in the free downloads area. You can get better forecasting in as little as 30 days. The information's right there in the ebook. Well, that concludes most of our content for this webinar today. We do have a customer spotlight that we'd love to have you stick around and check out. Today's customer spotlight is Honeywell.
Gary Young, Honeywell. I am a Global Program Manager for Sales Analytics. So our demand planners and our global sales leaders look at HD forecasts, whether it's the active pipeline or the opportunity line pipeline, to see what's going on in the quarter down to the rep level, but more importantly to see all the changes that have occurred since last week. And one of the big benefits is its pipeline movement, where we can tell what's happened to the pipeline from a period of time to today and everything that's happened in between. And that is not only a time saver, but it really sharpens our eye on all the stuff that's going on in the pipeline. So we use it for the forecast process. We also use it in our sales effectiveness scorecard. So what this does, as evidenced by one manager, he sent me a note and says, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, because it did save him time. It gave him the visualization of stuff that he didn't know, and he could focus on the cadence with the rep rather than the generation of reports. They could actually focus on the substance of what was being illustrated. You know, would I recommend it to somebody else? And the answer is definitely yes. And would I buy it again? So the answer is definitely yes.